Today we're going to cover the top 10 successful business practices. The first, building the work environment you want. 2, drop the performance review. 3, the best practices to increase profitability. 4, where to put your energy. 5, the delegation dilemma and outsourcing. 6, emotional intelligence. 7, be decisive, fake it till you make it. 8, hire right. And 9, fly at 30,000, not 500 feet. And 10, key ratio analysis of financial statements. This one specifically is going to cover 1 and 2, building the work environment you want, and the performance review. So first, let's talk about the work environment that you want. I have been a participant in many different businesses over the years, and seen how companies evolve. Usually when they start out, a smaller company, they have the camaraderie, the owner knows everybody, and as companies get bigger and bigger, maybe they go out and do an IPO or go out and increase in size. Sometimes that camaraderie and friendship and feeling of togetherness kind of lessens. And so that is one of the things that I know lots of companies strive to keep. So I think that the recommendation there is to try to always maintain that feeling of a small, family unit, basically, of the company, no matter how big it grows. The second thing is reaction versus the creation. So even with small business owners, there's the say not problem, but sometimes issue of just reacting to life events as they transpire. So for example, if you have 100 emails, or let's say 1,000 emails that you have to get through for the day, do you spend all your day looking at emails and reacting to them? There's also vendor issues, there's sales issues, there's operational issues, all those things that can come up that if we are not careful, we can just spend all day long, every day, just reacting to circumstances that present themselves on a day-to-day basis. And my recommendation is to create the environment that you want. And that sometimes means stepping back a little bit and looking at where you're going and where you want to go, and being open to not always having to follow every reaction that would take you outside of the creation of this business that you're trying to create, a successful business that you're trying to create. The other thing too is that, like I talked about a little bit before, is what kind of environment do you want to have? Do you want to have involved, fun environment, or a stoic and kind of a harsh environment where everybody knows that at 4 o'clock we need to look at the clock and know that there's 1 hour left to work, or are all employees engaged and want to show up and be a part of something big, as part of something great? Not saying that people don't need to work hard, they do. And not saying that you don't need to put in hours and the time necessary to create the business that you want. But that said, you can still have a place where people find enjoyment, a place where people find fun, and it can be a place where people want to come. And then the last thing on building the work environment that you want is focus on what you want, not on what you don't want. A lot of times, especially in this environment, we look at, how do we cut costs? How do we, trim the budget? How do we make sure that the bottom line is taken care of? And my recommendation there is that we look at the opposite. How do we increase sales? How do we go to market and show consumers or vendors or people, our customers, our clients, that we're number one, that we can create the environment that brings the most money in, it's the most profitable, without having to look at constantly a cost-cutting venue. The next one of the 10 that we're going to cover today is drop the performance review. And this is kind of a novel concept. You're saying like, oh, why drop the performance review? What happens if I have a bad employee, or I need to fire somebody, or I need to have the documentation to do that. Obviously, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, you don't want to have no documentation if there's an employee that doesn't always perform, or if you need to discipline or terminate an employee. But the thing is that if you had a product that you went to your customers on a survey type of thing, and 9 out of 10 of them said, "No, that doesn't work for us," would you try to continue to sell that product? Probably not. You probably want to look at tweaking it or making it better, and that's what I'm saying about the performance review. If you look at it, the standard performance review is done on a yearly basis. It's a pain in the butt for the manager and the employee. Managers don't want to do it because they don't want to have the negative interaction with the employee. Employees don't want to do it because they don't want the constructive criticism. And at the end of the day, the employees basically, what they get out of it is that, what's my raise? What's my percentage of raise, rather than, focusing on, what actually is stuff that they could do better. So my recommendation is to use the performance review as a basis on a weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly interaction with employees, and sit down with them, find out, where they want to go, what things they can add for productivity, what they can do to better the company, and at the same time share with them the aspirations and goals of the company and where you want to go. And this done on a more frequent basis builds trust, and it builds a situation where you're actually able to communicate, and when it comes time for those hard discussions, then you're not getting the pushback because it's just a once a year thing, and it doesn't seem like you care, and the only reason you're trying to bring the constructive criticism is because you got to have something to go in the file so that you can back up your lawsuit if you have to do that. So those are the two things that we covered today. I'm looking forward to sharing more with you as we go along.